In Huizhou, China's Pearl River Delta, known as the beating heart of China's major manufacturing industry, looking out over her little restaurant, Li Bing can still manage a crowd of customers from a nearby factory. When Li glances up from her wiping brush, she's surrounded only with empty tables, a sight she has seen for the past 2 months, and that is echoed throughout the Jinshinda complex, located in the city of Guangzhou in central Guangdong province. The reason for the fall is simple and clear: the shutdown of Samsung's site in Huizhou, which was the South Korean company's only smartphone plant in China until October. Li's restaurant was run by the thousands of migrant workers who had lived previously within walking distance of the 1.2 million square foot facility, which had been the main source of many other local businesses for nearly 3 decades. Matter of fact, Samsung shifted production to Vietnam and India, largely in response to China's trade war with the United States. Industry insiders believe China's changing position in the global supply chain, while businesses like Li's were left to pay the price and insecure about where to turn next. Li's restaurant and other nearby businesses are under threat until a solution can be found, or they'll be forced to close. Li said, "Before the Samsung plant relocated, our monthly turnover often exceeded 60,000 yuan or 70,000 yuan, and most of our customers were Samsung employees and suppliers. But now, we can only make a few hundred yuan a day, just 2 or 3 tables a night." Many of the employees who were forced to leave expressed regret in social media, with some uploading images of the latest smartphones and watches they had given as part of their redundancy compensation. With no new manufacturer on the way to take up the area, at least 60% of the local businesses have already collapsed, with more to join in the upcoming days if nothing changes. The shutdown has also had an impact on the town of Chang'an in Dongguan City, about 100 kilometers west of Huizhou, where a leading Chinese robotics company has had their hours reduced drastically. Some employees have been ordered to take a 3-month leave, while others have been allotted 1 or 2 days of work per week, as Samsung has been the company's major client since the late 2000s. The vibrant Huizhou city turned into a ghost town after Samsung closed its 3-decade-old factory and shifted operations to India and Vietnam in October, the first visible fallout of the ongoing trade war between China and the US. The Huizhou factory started life in August 1992, after the South Korean electronics giant signed a joint venture contract with the local government. A year later, the company, with a registered capital of $32 million was officially put into production, and since then has produced the latest and most popular consumer electronics, from stereos in the 1990s, MP3 players in the early 2000s, and smartphones since 2007. In its heyday in 2011, with Samsung's smartphone sales ranked #1 in the world, its 2 factories in Huizhou and Tianjin produced and exported 70.14 million and 55.64 million mobile phones respectively. But now, those days are long gone. According to Huizhou Customs data, in October, the first month after the Samsung factory closed on October 3rd, exports from the city's enterprises dropped to 14 billion yuan, a year-on-year decline of 27%. Liu Kaiming, head of the Institute of Contemporary Observation, which supervises working conditions in hundreds of factories in China, informed the press that at least 100 factories in Guangdong are going to close down. They can't make it without Samsung's Huizhou factory, let alone those small shops and restaurants in the surrounding area. A convenience store owner told that their business has seen at least an 80% drop compared to August. A large number of workers left in September. Wang Fumin, a sales manager from Huizhou Star real estate broker, informed that there are about 100 local residential buildings, 6 to 7 floors, around 1,000 square meters in Jinshinda complex. Most were rented to Samsung workers. Samsung has shifted operations to India and Vietnam in October amid the ongoing trade war between China and the US. Samsung's market share in China has burned down to 1% recently. The company had a market share of 15% in China around 2013. It's also to be noted here that Apple has stated retailing assembled in India iPhone XR models recently. These models are being assembled at Foxconn's facility in the country. The government of India had recently slashed base corporate taxes in the country as well. Last year, Samsung inaugurated its world's largest mobile factory in Noida, near the Indian capital. The new facility would enable Samsung to double its capacity for mobile phones in Noida from 68 million units a year to 120 million units a year, in a phase-wise expansion to be completed by 2020. Recently, Dixon Technologies entered into a partnership with Samsung to manufacture feature phones in India. It'll be manufacturing these feature phones in its latest facility. The trade war between China and the United States not only damaged Huizhou but also damaged the cities of China too. Many Chinese cities, which were solely dependent on manufacturing plants of foreign companies, are becoming ghost towns as the companies shut down the plants. U.S. President Donald Trump launched the trade war with China last year, demanding Beijing to reduce the massive trade obligation. Trump is also demanding a nosy verification mechanism to supervise Beijing's promise to protect intellectual property rights technology transfer and more access to American goods to Chinese markets. With the closure of the Samsung plant, 60% of the nearby business closed down. But as these companies started relocating the factories in other countries, the cities they're leaving behind are becoming ghost towns. With the latest changes in China's place in the global supply chain, the urban scenario of the country is also undergoing phenomenal transformation. And this phenomenon is not limited to Huizhou City. Other smaller cities, which were solely dependent on the manufacturing plants for economic, social, and political activities, are suffering from this transformation. The business in these cities has closed down as the revenue dipped, and the people employed at the shops don't know what to do with life. This phenomenon is known as the Detroit syndrome of cities. The city of Detroit in the northeastern United States, which was a major megapolis a few decades ago, became a ghost town with the closure of factories. In the United States, the syndrome was limited to neighborhoods of Detroit, but in China, the syndrome has plagued hundreds of cities. The ongoing trade war between the United States and China is plaguing the Chinese economy, but Vietnam and India are hooked to gain at the expense of the dragon. For example, as Samsung closed down the factory in Huizhou City, production in its Vietnamese factory. If the trade war continues, the American and even European and Japanese companies will have to look for new sources and routes in the backdrop of the trade war, as the MNC's companies look beyond China in the face of the ongoing trade war. Only India has the potential of reaching the expansion demands triggered by the trade tensions between the US and China. And it's a welcome evolution that the Modi government has already started thinking in the right direction, with the finance minister disclosing her plans for wooing MNCs departing China.